Welcome to Baritone Cult. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about custom builds, ordering custom builds, what to know, what I can share with you guys. I've got 5 of them over here to go through, and 4 were orders, and one's a used one that I purchased. So I'm going to kind of leave out some of the details maybe of the guitars, but I'm going to share the experience with you. That way, if there's anybody watching this and they're thinking about a build and it's some random name and that nobody knows about, and you get that build, and 3 years later you decide to sell it, but nobody knows who that is, was that the best choice for you? Because you might not get what you paid for, when you resell it. So we're going to start right with the first one here. And this is a Mayanez 28 scale Regis core. Okay. Now, when I decided I was going to order from these guys, I was like, okay, I have a 28 scale baritone. These guys make 28 scale baritones. And the quality is off the charts with these because I had a used 25.5 to 27 scale Duvel, or it was brand new from the NAMM show. Anyways, I knew the quality before I was ordering. So what I did is I found a dealer, Pennsylvania or somewhere like that, called them up. Hey, I want to get a baritone. I want to get a 37 scale bass. And immediately I felt like I got shuffled off. Like, if it was my business, I would have had calls for custom builds routed to me directly or to my manager or whatever. You just don't know. If employees, maybe they don't care. You never know who's on the other line. But for me, I was like, I'm doing 2 of them here. I want to have some help with it, And so moving on, I contacted another dealer out in California. Immediately when I talked to this person, we connected. They knew about baritones. I felt like they could kind of guide me, And because, this stuff, you don't want to mess up. They're expensive. You want to have a little bit of information. So I ordered this, and I was familiar with the pickups and being bare knuckles, and I was familiar with the Schaller bridge, which I really love how my hand lays. And I knew I just wanted a volume on this. I knew I wanted a 28 scale. I knew I wanted locking tuners. And on the back, I just, give me natural. Well, if I had to do it over again, I probably would have got a darker color. Does it really matter? No, because it plays wonderful. So we'll move on to the next number 2 here in a second. So then I gave the deposit for those, and I think it was a 9 or 10 month wait. I'd never called the person to bug them. You don't want to bug your dealers. You don't want to be calling up, is my build ready? And so that's just something that I do. That's up to everybody else's decision. So I'm going to grab number 2 here. Okay, so this is a Mayanez 34 to 37 scale bass. I really didn't know much about these, but I did know the quality of Mayanez. And most importantly, it's a neck through. And why is that important? Well, you get a lot more stability with your tuning. And at the time, I was in G, D, GA or something like that, and played in that for a long time. And so you're using different strings on these things, and it's just a little bit different. Everybody works their own setup a little bit differently. This one was a secret win because I didn't want a dingwall, even though I'd love to have one. I just wanted something different that nobody had, and I wanted a neck through, and it has these Aguilar pickups in it, has a dark glass preamp in it, and it's been amazing. So I knew the quality of the company. I knew the scale length that I wanted. And I put my order in. And I couldn't be happier, to be honest. Just amazing. So that's number 2. Now moving on to number 3. This is a red layer out of Netherlands. And the owner over there, his name is Yort, extremely talented builder. I got a hold of this guy and it's like, hey, I'm interested. And I said, I'm willing to put down a $3,000 deposit tomorrow. What does that do? That gets people's attention. That lets them know that you're serious, that you're not playing around. And it's also really hard for somebody to turn down something like that because, they pick their customers over there. That they build for a lot of the big names, and trying to explain it the best I can. And so I was just like, man, how do you get in there? Well, you always put the money out first. And so I did that and started a relationship with those guys. One of the cool things is they sent me 10 different types of wood and tops to choose from, which I couldn't believe. It was very generous of them, and I was surprised. So I was like, wow, that's just amazing. I'll pick this one. I don't know, It's not like you do a bunch of these. And told them some of the things I wanted. I want a 26.5 to 28 scale. I want gold Jessica frets, that a bridge. And Schaller didn't make an angled bridge, so we got a hip shot and, contacted hip shot, had it all blacked out because I wanted that. I just think it looks really corny with the chrome on black, but that's for me. And, like 9 months later or whatever it was delivered from the Netherlands, 3 days. So very, very happy with this. Now, if I were to go back in time, what would I do? That's the thing where you try. That's why I'm trying to do this video, because you don't want to go order something and then by the time it's getting there, you change your mind. And I use this in the studio with John, and it's a tool. That's how we view it. But I would go longer. I'm really bummed that I only went to 28. But it's amazing. I'm very happy with it. So the next build, I knew exactly what I wanted. But I second-guessed myself out of the gate. I'll start with that immediately. These are bare-knuckle silo pickups. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get those because Rabia designed them. It'll sound different. I got other ones with single coils, and I don't want them to sound the same. And so I went with them. They sound wonderful. But he's not a 24/7 baritone guy like me. And for me, I'm pretty much single coil, and that's it. 30 scale, and that's it. But I was like, well, I'll try them. They're great. It's another option in the studio. And when I did this build, I was like, hey, I'd really like a 30 scale 6-string. Well, I've only did one of those and it was for myself. We've been doing these other ones. And he says, yeah, no problem. I said, well, I'll tell you what. You pick the wood. You do what I want to do. And, that makes it fun for everybody. And plus I felt like they were doing me a solid, or a favor. So, you got some Honduran mahogany on here. And it's just stealth. The neck, I kind of told him what I wanted with the neck. And this thing being a neck through, just like the Mayanez bass and the Mayanez Regis, that tuning stability is off the charts. I know there's a lot of people that, do the Evertune. I don't have any experience with that. I'm not really interested in that. There might be some restrictions with string gauges. I'm not sure. I love this bridge. So this is a 99 Telecaster Bajo Sexto 30.25 scale. These are very rare. And somebody had this built, obviously, way back then. And I've had this for over a year, and, it's just sick. You got the single coils in there, which that's pretty much what I love. And, you've got the length of the neck. The fretboard's really flat, and it's just the neck, really. That's how I kind of feel. You could get a Squier 27 scale. It's going to sound really good, and the neck's going to be great. So, yeah, custom shop. I believe there's only one rod in this. And so there is fluctuations in this. It is a bolt-on, but you know, buying used, you kind of shoot in the dark. But I couldn't be happier with this. I feel like this is like that Mayonnaise bass or the Red Layer 30 scale 6-string. I mean, those are my favorites. So I only have a few of them that are my favorites. I'm going to close this out with a Partscaster info and a couple of things to close this up. So with those Bajo Sextos being so expensive, or a 30.25 scale neck, I was like, man, you can't find them. They're outrageous. Put together a killer build. Unfortunately, it's at the shop right now. I'll show you guys that soon. I didn't cut any corners. I actually have a 30.25 scale neck on that was built, and it's a cheap one. I have a killer one being built now that will arrive next June by a really talented luthier. And so I'll bring that on the camera before, but I'm trying to find a way to replicate that super expensive custom shop Telecaster, because the neck's the most important thing. And so, you know, for the future, stay tuned. In closing, when you're making an order, kind of know what you want, man. If you like single coils, get them. That's the biggest thing. Know what you want before you get it. I probably left some things out. I hope it was helpful. We'll catch you next time.